Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Lots to cover today, but late night is back. They saw President Biden's fist bump last week. Trevor Noah said, America obsesses about these things. It's also funny how President Biden thought it would be better to fist bump Mohammed bin Salman because that seems less friendly than a handshake. That's the whitest decision of all time. You know what Biden should have done if he didn't want a controversy like this? He should have gone in for the handshake and then given him the psych. More Trevor, you know what I think really happened? I think Biden's team briefed him and they were like, Mr. President in Saudi Arabia, if you make them mad, and you have, they'll chop off your hand. So hide your finger, get in, quick, in and out, Godspeed, Mr. President. Also, J-Lo married Ben Affleck. Seth Meyers said that's right. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez got married over the weekend because right now that's the only way a Red Sox fan can get a win in the Bronx. Well played. Colbert, love is real. If they can make it work, there's hope for every attractive millionaire celebrity couple with a skincare line. Fallon, that's right. They got married at a drive-through chapel. You know, inflation is bad when even those two were like, let's just do it in Vegas. And Fallon said the guy who married them was like, wow, you two are the best Ben and J-Lo impersonators I've ever seen. We haven't had a Joe Rogan controversy in a couple weeks. Well, good news. Joe Rogan controversy. I'm sourcing both Variety and the New York Post here. I threw it in the blender and made one big story. The headline, Joe Rogan's repulsive podcast comments about shooting homeless people stuns LA's unhoused advocates. Joe Rogan's recent offhand remark to podcast guest Tom Segura that maybe you should just go shoot the homeless people in LA has left several of the city's unhoused advocates stunned and disheartened. This happened on the July 14th episode of the Joe Rogan Experience. The guest Tom Segura, they started talking about the topic of homelessness in LA. The cigar smoking duo, both articles got that point in it. They were smoking cigars. Discuss some dark ideas about LA's unhoused population. Here is the transcript. Tom Segura, when you see stuff like that on the streets, at least in LA or California, that's protected property, like by law. That's the person's property by law. Rogan, oh, a homeless person's property is protected? Segura, absolutely. If you were to try to move or take that, Rogan, you'd get arrested. Hilarious. But they wouldn't arrest you if you shot somebody. Maybe you should just go shoot the homeless people. Segura, I like your ideas, Rogan. And if nobody claims it, I mean, nobody does anything about violent crime in LA anymore. Now, before we all freak out, that's me reading a transcript. I'm doing a head voice of Tom Segura where he says, quote, I like your ideas, unquote. And I think he probably said it in an intonation that suggested that this was a comedic segment. I'm in no way advocating shooting anyone. Let me be clear. As you can imagine, this did not go over well on Twitter. One user wrote, nothing like a couple of rich Fs sitting around smoking cigars and criticizing people at their rock bottom. Another accused Rogan of advocating for the murder of people who have nothing and are at their lowest point. I think when I'm done recording here today, I'm going to listen to this episode myself. Another wrote, Joe Rogan is outraged that the homeless are allowed to own things. Theo Henderson is an advocate for the unhoused. He has a podcast called We the Unhoused and said it's repulsive, it's infuriating because it's not only out of touch, but the reality is that unhoused people are targeted by housed people. To advocate trying to shoot at unhoused people or just giving these dog whistles to people who do not see unhoused people as human beings, I can't believe you'd advocate for it. That is an excellent point by Theo Henderson. Andrew Bales is the CEO of the downtown LA homeless shelter Union Rescue Mission and said, I'm surprised and saddened. The comments about beginning to kill homeless people hits too close to reality for any comfort because murders of homeless people in LA went up 47% last year over the previous year. There's a bit of unfortunate vigilantism already in LA towards people devastated by homelessness, and they don't need any encouragement. Bales extended an invitation to Joe Rogan so that Rogan could better understand the conditions that thousands of LA residents live in. I'd invite Joe to come to Union Rescue Mission to see not only our work, but see what's happening on the streets and who these people are who he's talking about. Dave Chappelle announced a surprise performance. He announced this on Monday, and it sold out in 5 minutes on Tuesday. He's returning to Minneapolis. He'll be playing at First Avenue, but it's Dave Chappelle, so there's a controversy. Many took to Twitter to express dislike for Chappelle over his transphobic comments on his special The Closer. One Twitter user wrote, read these comments. You're platforming someone who's deliberately choosing to target trans people at a specific historical moment in which those actual people's actual lives are in actual danger. Another said transphobia isn't comedy, it is violence, and that First Place is either a safe place for trans people or it's not. Another pointed out that First Avenue strictly prohibits discrimination of any kind. From the Laugh Button, Triumph the Insult Comic Dog is free to roam the streets. Remember last month that Robert Smigel and 9 staff members from The Late Show were arrested at the Capitol while they were covering the January 6th hearings? The U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia said in a statement, you know, when I started this podcast, I never thought I'd be quoting the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia. I thought I'd be like, hey, Hannibal Buress is in Toronto this weekend. He's at the Chuckle Hut, and Hannibal said this funny thing. Nope, we live in strange times. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia said in a statement, after a comprehensive review of all the evidence and the relevant legal authority, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia has determined that it cannot move forward with misdemeanor charges of unlawful entry against the 9 individuals who were arrested on June 16, 2022 at the Longworth office building. The Capitol Police have their own statement said the U.S. Capitol Police was just informed that the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia is declining to prosecute the case. We respect the decision that office has made. The laugh button points out we won't have to see Triumph sitting on the stand, although that would be hilarious. Oh, there's sad news on Gossip Corner today. This is devastating. Chelsea Handler and Joe Coy, they're going their separate ways. Chelsea shared on Instagram that she and Joe Coy have split. She posted a video that the two had planned to share on their 1-year anniversary, and Handler wrote in the caption, "It is with heavy heart to announce that we have decided together that it's best for us to take a break from our relationship right now. Source tells People that those close to the pair hope it's temporary. The source says their friends are hoping they could still work it out, but if anything, it's clear their relationship has changed both for the better." Handler told fans in the Insta post, "I know many of you were invested in our love, and I wanted to express to you how much that meant to both of us, how much it still means, and how much I now believe in love for each one of us. Joe Coy blew my heart open with love, and because of him, my life experience has changed forever. To be loved and adored by Joe Coy has been one of the greatest gifts of my life. He renewed my faith in men and love and being 100% who I am, and I've never been more optimistic for the future. You blew my creativity open, my lust for working hard again, being on the road again, and you reminded me who I was and always have been, and my feet have never been more firmly planted in the ground. This is not an ending, it's another beginning, and it's a comfort to know that I'm still loved and love this man the way the sun loves the moon and the moon loves the sun." All caps now, your person is coming, all caps. So please continue to root for both of us because you never know what life will bring. And let's first start going to the theater on August 5th to buy tickets to Joe Coy's new movie, Easter Sunday. You didn't see that coming, did you? She's plugging his movie. Here's my question. You know who Chelsea Handler's opener is on the road? Joe Coy. Should be an interesting show, no? Just for Laughs is rolling now. The Nasty Show tonight. The Nasty Show is back and will be hands down the filthiest show of the entire festival. This up of Montreal, Just for Laughs Montreal. Hope you're there. I'm going to be there, what's today? Wednesday, a week from today. Oh my goodness. Prepare yourself for a night of kill or be killed comedy featuring some of comedy's dirtiest minds. See for yourself why this is one of the festival's longest running shows. Big J. Okerson is your host. Lisa Trigger, Bobby Kelly, Sophie Buttle, Yamanika Saunders, and others. Should be a good time. You ever try and record your podcast and your daughter is texting away in your ears? I've hit mute on my headphones 9 times, MacBook. Stop sending me texts. Monique has announced that she'll be taping her first special for Netflix. Now, she's expected to film the special in Atlanta later this year, but here's why it's interesting. Remember back in 2019, Monique filed a race and sex discrimination suit against Netflix, for whom she's now making a special. In that lawsuit, she said she was given a lowball offer as opposed to what was offered to people like Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, and Amy Schumer. Now, let me call time out there. I don't know, Monique. I don't know if you've heard of Dave Chappelle. Sounds like you have. He's a little more famous and a little more popular. Same comment, Chris Rock. Amy Schumer, hey, she hosts the Oscars. She gets money. At the time, Monique said she was only offered $500,000 for her special, while Amy Schumer made $11 million for her, and Rock and Chappelle made $20 million for theirs. Anyway, the lawsuit was settled last month. They'll tape one in Atlanta this year. And I don't know, was it part of the settlement that you get a Netflix special? I'll be curious to see how heavily Netflix promotes this special or not. Who knows? Do you like Jesus and Mero? Well, they broke up. Sorry to break it to you. This from The Verge. Recently, fans noticed that something was off. The Bodega Boys podcast, which had been running since 2015, hasn't had a new episode since November. Last week, Mero commented on a Reddit post that podcast done. Enjoy the back catalog, my pals. Jesus has responded in a tweet, "The Hive deserve better than this ending." Showtime has confirmed the split. It said Jesus Nice and the Kid Mero will be pursuing separate creative endeavors moving forward. Their late-night talk show on Showtime will not be returning for a 5th season. The final episode aired on June 23rd. The LA County Medical Examiner Coroner has revealed the cause of death for comedian Jak Knight. The coroner has ruled his death a suicide. Jak Knight's loved ones ask that their privacy please be respected during this extremely difficult time. If you're struggling with suicidal thoughts, you can call the 24/7 National Suicide Prevention Hotline. That number, 800-273-8255. Or there's a brand new national line. You just got to dial 988. See you tomorrow.